Hi everyone, it's Shari Carroll for SimonsStamp.com, and I have a card here that I've created using the Neat and Tangled stencils. This is a two-part balloon stencil, and I've chosen some colors that are perfect for my son's birthday, and they all go really well together when they're stacked over one another. The stencils come in two parts, so you can lay them down and start stenciling the bottom layer of balloons, and then you can put the other stencil on top and stencil the top layer. So I'm starting off with some seafoam, and I have blotted my blending tool off onto my scrap paper. I want to make sure that I get a light coating to go on first, and then I can work in more color as I go. If I start off really heavy, I'm going to leave marks from the blending tool. The next color I'm using is stone, and again I'm blotting my blending tool off onto my scrap paper. And stone is a really nice neutral. It will go with any of your colors. It's a grayish brown or a warm gray. So I'll lay this one down, and I'll probably put a blue on top of that with the next stencil. I am going to mask off a few of these little areas to make sure that I don't go over onto my cardstock. And this next color I'm using is Catkin, which is almost a celery color. It's a greenish gold, and this is a really nice boy color as well. For my last balloon on this stencil, I'm using Lake Shores. I've also used Cloudy Sky on the second from the left balloon, and I'll go ahead and lift this up and we can see how this is starting to look. So these are really nice and pale. I've concentrated my color on the right side, and I'm leaving the left side a little bit lighter. And now I'm using the second stencil, and I'm layering my balloon colors on top of each other. I'll lift this up just to make sure I have enough color, and if not, I can go back in and add more. I've jumped ahead a little bit, and I'm adding my last color to the second stencil, and that is Seafoam. And once I get this cleaned up, I'll lift this up and we can see how this is looking. So everything layers really well together and nothing overlaps in any muddy colors. I want to add my message next, and I have the Hooray die, also from Neat and Tangled. And instead of using the outer die, I'm just using the detailed word die. And I've die cut this out 3 times from black cardstock. To stick these together, I'm using my two-way glue pen, and I like to just add dots to the little fine details, and I make sure I get into all the little small areas so that everything will stick together really nicely. Once I have glue on my first piece, I can lay my second piece right on top and set that down. Then I lift it up and make sure that I have everything in line. And for the third layer, I've done the same thing. I've added glue to the top, and now I'm just adding that third layer right on top. Again, making sure that I have things really well lined up, and I like to lift them up and make sure each of the letters stack together to look like one piece of chipboard. Now that my balloons are all together and I have my Hooray word, I haven't glued that down yet. I'm going to stamp my message, and this is a 2-part message, also from Neat and Tangled, and it says, "It's your day," and then Hooray. And the Hooray is in the same writing as that die cut, but I thought it'd be nice to mix together a stamp and also the die cut. I'm using Simon's Stamp Intense Black ink because it stamps really well on top of the other inks and doesn't feather out. So next I'll get ready to add my balloon strings. I've decided to use my ruler and a pencil just in case I make mistakes. I can erase it. And the pencil also gives me a really light line instead of a really dark black line like I would with a black pen. This is really nice, especially with the light tones of colors that I have going on with the balloons. So I'm just drawing a straight line on each of the balloons that's in the center of the card, and then I can go back in and add loops for the balloon ties. To add my die cut, I'm once again using my two-way glue pen, and I've added dots of glue all around. And all I need to do is just position this right onto the card. To finish this up, I have trimmed down my panel and I've mounted it onto a fog note card. And I've also added a few of the Simon's Stamp Moonshine sequins. I hope I've given you some inspiration to use some muted tone colors to overlap when using your stencils. And as always, thanks so much for watching.